This is Benji, my childhood dog. He followed me around faithfully, even on that day when he ran in front of a car to get to me. He recovered, but what I remember the most was his bloody face and him whimpering on the asphalt. He was my buddy, but he was taken from me. My father and I had severe allergies, and as was the practice of the day, we had to get rid of everything fuzzy or furry, and that meant getting rid of Benji too. I didn't grasp why he was taken away. I missed him when playing in the woods and on those lonely nights when I cried myself to sleep. I felt very lost. Life turns, and it broke my heart. I knew you could adopt pets at the shelter, but later I learned it was where pets were often put to sleep. But I could only remember one thing. It's where animals see their worlds go dark in the presence of strangers. I've lived my entire life within sight of that shelter, Seattle Humane. Every time I drive past, I would feel that familiar sadness wash over me. The most I could comfortably do was to donate from a distance. That sadness connected with this place had followed me, unbroken, for 50 years. And I wondered if this would be the story I could never rewrite, that this might be the difficult path I would have to travel forever. Now, I've overcome so much. I was a shy violinist as a kid, but now I tell stories across the U.S. I transitioned and became the woman you see today. I play keys in an 80s band, and yet this obstacle remained. I promised myself I would find these memories written so indelibly in my child's heart, not to erase them, but to see them, to know them, to hear what they have to say. I found the Seattle Humane site, and I pushed the button. I attended the orientation, the training sessions. I received my badge and my official shirt. There was a moment of doubt when it came time to choose my assignment, but I chose to work in the veterinary department. We put my father in hospice at about that same time. The brain disease that had consumed everything we knew of him cast its shadow on his last breaths. I prepared to cancel my first big lecture at a national conference to be at his side, but my family said he would have wanted me at the conference rather than with him. They said it would have made him proud, and sometimes there's no right choice. Life turns, and it gives me loss. Sometimes we don't see things until they're right next to something else. In the bleakest moments of my father's imminent passing, I began to see. I saw hope, love, and life on 4 paws. In a place I once remembered with nothing but sadness, I saw hopeful young couples shopping for their first furry child, and I saw overjoyed dogs flaunting their new collars and leashes, prancing out of the adoption center. In a place I once believed was filled with abandonment and hopelessness, I saw the stunned surprise of people who counted 8 new puppies in a box when everyone insisted that there were only 7. A friend had told me that volunteering in the service of animals changes the landscape of your heart, that it weaves you into the fabric of life. And after a year of hard work, I finally understood what she was saying. I was scrubbing kennels with bleach, feeding all the animals in the hospital, hauling stacks of towels, and prepping surgical supplies. I worked hard and was exhausted the next day, and it was still the most rewarding day of the week for me. I thought back to what I believed animal shelters to be. I know that tears have a way of coloring memories, and seeing the cycle of life has a way of giving me perspective. And serendipity reveals something at just the right time. Life turns, perspective turns, and even words turn. I was so close. I almost got the idea of Seattle Humane right as a kid. I no longer see it as the place where animals meet their end in the arms of strangers. It's where lost strangers find their lives in the arms of animals. Benji had taught me a lesson, but it was one that wouldn't become clear for many years. It was imperfectly remembered through the tears, almost forgotten over time, but so freeing now that I've brushed away that fog. Thank you, Benji, for teaching me that life turns, but I decide where to look.